Americans have had it with political Islam. In the span of a single week, 3 separate stories broke across different states, and taken together, they paint a picture the legacy media absolutely refuses to show you. All across the country, more and more Americans of every political stripe are finally saying what they've been too intimidated to say for years. We've been covering the uprising against political Islam over in Europe. Well, now it's here in America. And as we're about to find out, that uprising is just getting started. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, I want to share a personal story with you. I have to admit something. Several months back, my son asked me a question that I actually didn't have a very clean answer for. I know, you're patron professor, right? He wanted to know, bottom line, why the world felt like it was falling apart in the news, but nobody around him seemed to agree on why. And I gave him the best answer I could in the moment, but I remember thinking afterward, that deserved a better answer that I gave him. That deserved a framework by which we can all make sense of this world. Well, that's what my latest book, Civcosm, is the answer to. It's the framework I wish I had already had on that day. And now I want to teach it to you live. So the next time your kids ask you a question like that, you're not scrambling. You already know. I haven't taught anything like this live in years, and registrations for my Civcosm Masterclass are officially open. 6 weeks, real time, straight through the book with me. This is happening once, and early bird pricing is open right now for a limited time. So if you want to be ready for that question before it gets asked, scan the QR code below to join. We are living in the midst of a mass uprising. All across the Western world, more and more populations are rising up against what they see as a mass invasion of immigrants by literally the millions crossing their borders, and most particularly against the rise in influence of Islam inside their nations. Scholars call it civilizational populism, and it's by far the fastest growing political movement all across the European continent, and as it turns out, right here in the United States. There is an increasing sense among more and more Americans, like their European counterparts, that Islam, particularly political Islam, is incompatible with Western values rooted in classical and Christian civilization. Now, the latest controversy to erupt is in the tiny Mississippi Delta town of Benoi, population of just under 400 people, where a woman by the name of Asma Ali was just sworn in as the town's new municipal court judge. Ali is an American-born immigration attorney who runs a law practice in Ridgeland, and the moment word got out that Benoit's Board of Aldermen had appointed her, the internet absolutely erupted. Now, this Muslim judge has had to clarify that she is absolutely committed to upholding the U.S. Constitution and the laws of the state of Mississippi, but an increasing number of citizens find that frankly dubious. They want to know precisely how a personal pledge of allegiance to the Constitution is enough when the underlying legal and moral framework of someone's faith operates on entirely different first principles. Now, of course, the response from law professors is that Article 6, Clause 3 of the Constitution bars a religious test for public office, and as far as they're concerned, that should be the end of the discussion. That's that, right? However, unfortunately for these law professors, the discussion isn't ending. In fact, it's just getting started. You can hide behind your universalist principles all you want. It doesn't change the fact that there is indeed a growing consensus throughout the West that there are civilizational norms around the world that are simply incompatible with Western values, and that incompatibility is precisely what we're facing today in the growing surge of Islamo-socialism throughout our nation's cities and its radical anti-American rhetoric. That's exactly why back in 2015, Mississippi lawmakers overwhelmingly passed a bill, 116 to 1 in the House, explicitly banning the use of foreign or international law, including Sharia, in their state courts. Now, that wasn't some fringe legislation. That was the near unanimous bipartisan recognition that something needed to be locked down before it became a problem. And now state senators are saying that that 2015 law simply did not go far enough. They introduced the Don't Sharia Mississippi Act for the 2027 legislative session, a multi-part legislative package designed to close the gaps left by the original bill and ban any semblance of Sharia law from the state. What's so fascinating here, however, is that it's not just Mississippi. At the same time this Muslim judge controversy blew up, over in Texas at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, a taxpayer-adjacent public facility was moving forward on a plan to install Islamic foot washing stations in 2 additional restrooms in Terminal D, on top of the ones already installed back in 2019. The project was set to cost somewhere between $100,000 to $300,000, and airport officials initially told the public it would be privately funded, but they later admitted, that the funding is actually coming from the airport's own operating revenue. Taxpayer-funded operating revenue, not some outside donor. And again, Texas residents are like, hey, when was the last time we saw a taxpayer-funded government facility build dedicated ritual infrastructure for Christian communion or for Jewish ritual hand-washing before Shabbat meals? This isn't about religious neutrality. This is about one specific faith consistently receiving special institutional accommodation that no other faith gets. And of course, Texans don't take anything lying down. What happened next will blow you away. One of the most important things you can do for your home and your family is be prepared before an emergency ever happens. Because when something goes wrong, when a fire starts, the last thing you want to be doing is scrambling for some complicated solution. In moments like that, you need something simple, fast, practical, and ready to go. And that's exactly what I want to tell you about the Sierra Madre Fire Blanket. Now, what I love about this is just how easy it is to use. You simply pull it out using these straps, and then you unfold it. I'm not going to unfold everything. It's pretty big, but you get it. And then you place it over the flames. And that's it. No complicated instructions, no special training, right? No pressure gauges to check, no chemicals, no maintenance, and no complicated operation. It's lightweight, it's easy to carry, and it's compact enough to keep close by without taking up a bunch of space. And that makes it especially valuable in the kitchen, where so many household fires start. But it's not just for your kitchen. You can keep one in your car, your RV, your camper, your boat, in your emergency kit next to the barbecue. In other words, it's one of those simple tools that gives you real peace of mind wherever life takes you. The Sierra Madre Fire Blanket is made from 100% fiberglass fabric, and it works by cutting off oxygen to the flames. No charging, no batteries, no waiting. It's always ready whenever you need it. So if you're looking for a simple, practical way to add another layer of protection for your home, your vehicle, and the people you love most, check out the Sierra Madre Fire Blanket today. It's a small thing to keep on hand, but in the moment you need it, it can make all the difference. Click the link below to get yours today. Texas Governor Greg Abbott caught wind of the plan, and he didn't just tweet about it. He launched a formal review of every state grant issued to DFW and to Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport. He referred both airports to the Federal Department of Transportation for investigation. And that is precisely the kind of political and legal pressure that shuts down projects like this. Within days, DFW completely reversed course and they killed the foot washing project entirely, claiming the review had determined that, quote, it would not deliver the originally anticipated operational benefits. How's that for bureau speak? Translation, they got caught. They got caught, the public got loud, and a Republican governor with a spine actually used his authority and his power to stop it. That right there is the blueprint, the blueprint for all of this. That's what this entire uprising is actually all about. Not hatred of individual Muslims, but a refusal to let institutional creep continue unchecked simply because everyone's too afraid of being called a name. More and more people are standing up now so as to prevent what we might call the Mamdaniization of their cities and their state before it's too late. Now, unfortunately for the residents of McKinney, Texas, their city council just voted 7-0 to approve a massive expansion for the McKinney Islamic Association, a 32,000 square foot sanctuary, gymnasium, classroom complex. Council members called it a routine zoning matter, but the people in McKinney called it something else entirely. And they didn't just complain online, they organized. Within a week, voters filed an official recall affidavit targeting Mayor Bill Cox and 3 council members who backed the vote. U.S. Congressman Keith Self has publicly thrown his weight behind the petition, having warned the council members before the vote even happened that they would face recalls if they voted to approve it. And this fight doesn't exist in a vacuum. It lands just one night after a U.S. Senate hearing flagged nearby Epic City. That's Texas's controversial 402-acre Islamic development that we've talked about. We've done a number of videos on. They cited that as a case study of what they called Islamist separatism, and amid an ongoing lawsuit from Texas AG Ken Paxton. Now, what's so key here is that these 3 stories, so Benoit, DFW, McKinney, they aren't happening in a vacuum. They're happening against the backdrop of a much larger civilizational conversation that's finally breaking into the mainstream. Critics and commentators who spent years warning about what they call the soft conquest of the West through demographic growth, cultural accommodation, and institutional capture rather than military force, argue that exactly this kind of incremental normalization is the entire strategy. Build the foot washing station today, appoint the judge tomorrow, and by the time anyone notices the cumulative pattern, the civilizational character of the institution has already shifted. For example, take a look at this. This is from the Senate race in Michigan just a couple of weeks back in their primaries. Take a look at the voter profile. Look at how Arabs in Michigan voted. While non-Arab voters were split down the middle between the 2 candidates in the Democrat primary, 94% of Arab voters voted for Abdul el-Sayed. 94%. That's what we're talking about here. That is a slow, deliberate, methodical takeover. Their fidelity is not to the country. Their fidelity is to their ethnicity and their faith. And the fundamental question that more and more people are asking is, can that kind of Islamic fidelity ever be quietly, peacefully absorbed into a constitutional republic built on values and premises that radically diverge from the central tenets of their faith? That's not bigotry. That's the single most important civilizational question of this century. And pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. It just guarantees that the backlash gets louder and angrier every single time these stories break. We're seeing it all throughout Europe, and now we're seeing the mirror image here at home. A rising cross-partisan resistance to further institutional accommodation, whether it's a courtroom in the Mississippi Delta or a bathroom sink in a Texas airport terminal. Sooner or later, the people who actually pay the taxes and vote in the elections get to have their say. And based on what we're seeing happening across the country and across the Atlantic, that day has already arrived. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. I want to hear what you have to say. And as always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button for breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. Love you guys. God bless. Friends, listen. We are not watching the decline of Christian civilization. We are watching its reawakening. I've written a free ebook, The Reawakening of Christian Civilization, and a free 3-part video series to go with it. The whole package is yours at no cost. Scan the QR code on your screen right now or hit the link in the description. Go grab it. It's all waiting for you.